Okay. Today is Friday, June the 24th, 2011. We're in Burleson, Texas, and we are going to interview these ladies and gentlemen for a little bit of the heritage of Burleson. My name is Dale Dexheimer. I live here in town. I happen to be the current president of the Burleson Heritage Foundation. And I would like to ask you three to identify yourselves, tell us where you currently reside.
Genevieve Taylor Harris, and I live in Dallas, Texas.
I'm Dick Thomas, and I live here in Burleson.
And I'm Shirley Taylor Miles and live in Dallas now.
Well, the Taylors were kin to here. The other Taylors, we were kin to the Norwoods and Miss Susan Norwood, Dr. she was a Norwood, but Miss Susan McNairn and wife of Dr. Spencer McNairn, the only doctor here in town for years. And we were kin to some of the Robins, but I think the ones we were kin to were not lived here, but some Robins that lived here we were almost kin to because of marriage and of the Norwoods into the Robbins family. There were two. And the Chisnalls, my mother was Chisnall, and then we were kin to the Wilsons here. That would be Goodroads Wilson, Marsh Wilson. That was my mother's first cousin. They were first cousins, and then also the Rogers that lived here.
You were related to almost everybody in town.
Just about.
How many folks were
And
in
then,
town?
of course, my sister married into the Warren family.
How many folks were in town in, say, 1930? Did you know everybody in town in 1930?
Oh, yes.
Well,
there were
32 and a half people.
well,
There's always somebody was
well,
pregnant.
when I left town, there were 500 and how many did you say? There were 590, I thought, and when I left, it was 589.
And when you left, what year would that have been?
Well, about 41.
Okay. Start of the war. About.
But yeah, I guess. No, I left a little before that. But that's about the time, yeah.
Okay. Sorry,
Well, why don't you ask your questions
Shirley,
and then we'll.
Something you want to start us with?
Well, I don't know. I just put down things here that I remember well growing up down here, because it was a wonderful place at the Girl Scouts, and how we went to the Chisnall place down there to camp out, you know, like in 1933, 34, you know. But then my mother and some of the other mothers.
You went to camp out. You camped out overnight?
Yes.
In a tent?
Yeah. And down by the creek at the Chisnall place. We called it the Chisnall place then, but it's the park now.
Right.
And and y'all were there too, right?
Well, the park isn't where we really went to by the creek.
Well, it's just down from it. It's on that same
Yeah,
type
down
of
from there,
property.
yeah.
Yeah, because I couldn't identify it now for anything, the exact place, but we were around the creek and we camped out, and that had a bonfire and everything like that. We little, 10 years old or 7, anywhere from that age on, like that.
Well, and
Jenny was
my
a little
mother.
older.
Marshmallows over the fire?
Pardon me?
Did you do marshmallows over the fire?
Oh, I'm sure so. That's very important to do
Did you make
marshmallows over the fire.
marshmallows back then?
And
And my mother chaperoned, as well as sometimes Ms. Miller, or I don't know if Ms. Gregory did or not.
my mother, Tolly Taylor, Polly Chisenhall Taylor, started the Girl Scouts here because Melba Miller and I wanted to be scouts. So she started it. Later, she turned it over to Dixie Merrifield, her name was then, Hurst. And but she would take us. Mama would take us down to the creek at the Chisenhall place, and she taught all the Girl Scouts how to smoke grapevine.
Oh gosh.
She was fun.
Shirley, you had some other notes.
Well, a lot of it's just like we used to have Halloween parties at our home, and I didn't know if that would come into play or not.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
And also a lot of parties where these friends here were a part of and everything like that out at their house. But we used to have Halloween parties, and we had a 2-story house called Airplane Bungalow, so that made the roof a little bit flatter than most roofs. And we'd have to go around to the back of the house, whoever was there, like 20 or 25 people or so, in back of the house, and climb up a ladder to get on the roof and then crawl in a window. And then there were all the decor, Halloween decor. And people, our sister-in-laws such as there, to like have grapes and everything, to put your hand in the grapes. And then we would go downstairs for the rest of the party and everything. But
It was the
there's
party
always
for
a
the
party.
church, the Methodist church.
Yeah. But we always had a party. In our bunch that we had these ladies.
And for her bunch,
right here.
Sarah Shannon and I taught them all to dance.
The boys.
And the
to
boys
dance.
to dance.
So we
And the dance would have been
At our house.
Yeah.
In the airplane bunch.
waltz or,
Oh, no.
uh-oh.
The
You
what?
gotta do something wild here?
The foxtrot. Or,
Okay.
if that's what it was called, and it was just good dancing.
But our friend Doris Joe played the piano.
Yeah, she
And her
did.
boyfriend was Frank Hass, that was from here. They were very close, and they did get married later. But he would sit on the piano bench while she played the piano, and so we danced. Thank goodness she played. we danced while she played the piano. Frank Hass.
Tell them about when the fire sirens would go off here.
The what?
The fire sirens.
Oh, the fire sirens. Well, I
Well,
don't
we didn't
remember
live
that.
in town. We lived a mile out.
Yeah. So I don't
No,
remember.
I
I just
remember
remember when
fire
our house caught on fire.
Yeah, our house.
You said you remember the sirens?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
there was a telephone on the wall outside the Big Four, and it was the fire phone. And,
Oh, really? Didn't
and
know
they'd,
that.
when that phone rang, it had a pretty loud bell on it that fire. The phone would ring, and we'd all make a race to see who'd get there first to answer the fire phone. And they'd tell us if there was a fire, where it was. And then the water tower that was over here by the city hall, where the city hall is now, had a siren on it. And we'd find out about the fire from that phone there on Main Street. And we'd run over here and flip a switch, and it'd turn the siren on. And unless you lived a mile out of town, you could hear that siren. And then all the volunteer firemen would come together and get what amounted to a garden hose and go out and squirt water on the fire. But the first, I remember the first fire equipment that I remember here was nothing more than a 2-wheel cart with a roll of hose, fire hose on it, and they'd hook it on behind a pickup or a vehicle that had a hitch on it, and pull it, and then just hook it on to a hydrant, and that was all the pressure there was, whatever pressure was coming through the fire hydrant. So it wasn't much of a chance of fighting a big fire. I know when
Well, that might have been after our house burned even.
Yes,
That
it
would've
was.
been.
Or a lot longer. Because they came up there with the little bitty fire extinguishers. And our house is burning like crazy.
You two ladies live out there near where Chisenhall Park is today?
No.
No.
No, we
Out
lived
on the
on
highway
opposite
to
side of
Fort
town.
Worth.
So you live north of town?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
On
And we
highway-
actually
what,
lived in,
Highway 81?
it was just past the marker that said, we lived in Tarrant County.
Okay.
It's about where the new Honda store was built,
Okay.
is now.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what was
Let me
there
ask you
now.
some things about your house in a typical day. One-story house, two-story house?
Two-story.
Well, it was 1.5. It was built like an airplane, and it had wings that went out on the side, and then there were 2 rooms upstairs, like would have been the cockpit. It was built after World War I, and there had been a flight school at about Everman up there. Was the British flight school. And so, and then after the war, my father was going to build a house, and so my mother got the plans out of Holland's magazine, and Mr. Lawson.
Loyalist was a...
Yeah,
He
one
was
of the
druggist.
one of the lawless men that built his house.
Huh, I didn't know that.
I
Well,
you had indoor plumbing?
born.
Yes,
Okay, one bathroom?
Yeah.
one bathroom,
Okay.
but no hot water.
No hot water?
We had at first. She did get it later.
When
With
it
with
caught on fire?
electric, no, electric heater,
Okay.
and we didn't have we had the stove that you pumped up. I mean, a cook stove that you pumped up, and we
Well,
heated.
let me ask you something. Didn't y'all have about the first electricity here after the interurban came through and supplied electricity? It seems like I remember Jack having told me that.
Well, that could be because the interurban went right at the end of our property, and my father had given them the right-of-way for the interurban, and we could go back to the back part and flag the interurban and ride to Fort Worth.
How much did it cost to ride to Fort Worth?
I have no idea.
How long did it take?
I don't know.
I don't know either
remember.
that.
Okay.
I don't think
I
we
didn't
ever
ride
read
it that much
Okay.
because I remember riding it one time when I was 5 years old, and I think Shirley was being born, and my mother had my brother Winston take me to Fort Worth on the interurban and buy me some Easter shoes.
That was a big event, wasn't it?
Oh, it surely was. I still love shoes.
The bathroom did not initially have hot water. We go to the kitchen. You said you had a pump up, like a kerosene stove? This,
I guess that was.
the kitchen, gas stove, electric stove, kerosene.
it. It was,
Well, we got electric later when we got the electric hot water heater, but we heated the stove for the bath in a kettle on the stove.
Okay.
that was before I got here.
So you would have gotten electricity in early 20s? Early 19?
No, because we didn't move. I was born in Burleson in the house that my mother had painted pink, and but Shirley was born out in the new house, the airplane bungalow,
And then you got electricity.
and so that would have
sometime
been
after that.
about let's see, from
It was born in
about
1925.
25
So you didn't
was
get
when,
electricity until the late 20s,
I'd
early
say.
30s, somewhere in there?
That was before the early 30s, because Papa died in
Oh, yeah,
32,
that's right.
and
He died in
we had
32.
electricity and everything like that.
Yeah,
then,
we did, uh-huh.
before them.
In the kitchen initially, didn't have electric or didn't have gas, so you didn't have an electric refrigerator. You all have an icebox?
No, yeah, we had an ice box.
It would have been a
Do you
nice
remember
box.
how big maybe it was, Genevieve?
Oh, well, it was about like this.
Iceman come once a day?
No, we picked no, Lord, we lived
had to
out town.
pick up the
we
ice.
picked it up at the ice house over there on the highway.
Okay.
And we made, and we always had the ice for ice cream. And we
Well,
sat,
we'd pick that up every Sunday, a big old huge block of ice every Sunday, and go home and chop it all up for to make
Yeah.
ice cream, homemade ice cream,
and
every
we
Sunday.
had to sit on the freezer. Somebody'd sit on the ice cream
Yeah.
freezer.
Me, I was
Well-
the smallest. Youngest one.
The water that you had in the house, did you have your own well? You didn't have city
Oh,
water
well,
back then, did you?
The Bransons lived across the road.
They had a well.
And they had a well, and it was piped over to us some way
Yeah.
or other.
Okay.
It wiped over their house.
And the highway there was a military highway, and they put it through, and there was a big space that was not paved, and that was for later, or to make it big enough for troops to go through. And I do remember military kinds of trucks going by.
Obviously didn't have city sewer, so I guess you had some
We had
sort
a
of septic.
septic tank,
Tanks.
yeah.
Yeah.
You lived in the country, but the
Yes.
highway was paved. The highway to Fort Worth was paved. It was an asphalt.
Yeah, it was paved, but I don't know
no,
what
it was
asphalt,
cement.
concrete, whatever
It was
was.
concrete, I believe,
Uh-huh.
When you came
at
to
our
town,
part, where our part was.
okay, when you came to town here, do you remember if the streets were paved here in town? Were they gravel?
Some
No,
were, some
they
were
were
not.
not. They were asphalt. I mean, you know that. Is that what I mean?
I don't know.
And so I don't know. It must have been asphalt out there, because I remember riding a horse down the highway, the old highway, and it was Warren's horse that I borrowed, and it got. And somebody came by, and they thought it was so cute to honk at somebody on a horse, and it scared him. And and he was up, then got up on the highway, and I was afraid to do anything for fear he'd slip and fall down. And so he ran away with me and ran right through town and right down this main street right here. And the ones at the Big Four saw me, and they ran out and got in a truck and and they were going to rescue me. And so the horse went clear down in front of is the Bransom house still down there? The G.E. Bransom house, or was the old house? Anyway, it was right down there, and it got down there and just stopped.
Where he wanted to go.
And see, there were just Main Street this way, and then it went in front of the Big Four, and there was and the Rudd's drugstore was down there in the Masonic building, and it was two-story. I guess maybe it was over the Rudd pharmacy, drugstore we called it, and then there was the what was it? that there was another drugstore over here on this street.
Oh, Loyalist.
Lawless,
That was
yeah,
Lawless
Lawless.
Drug.
Uh-huh.
And your horse ride, when the horse ran right with you downtown, would have been,
He came down the old, like,
was she here? Was it after 1925?
oh, yes, I was a teenager.
So it would have been early 30s, maybe mid-30s.
Probably, how old were you? Papa died at 1932.
I
Weren't
was
you
12. So
Yeah,
it was, I don't know,
Sometime in the 30s.
15, 16,
Okay.
something like that.
You didn't have your own horse. You borrowed a horse.
I always wanted my own, but no. I borrowed, the Warrens had a beautiful pony.
Okay. Shirley, you being little sister, you certainly didn't have a horse.
No, not until much later. But
If
my brother, Jack,
He always had a horse.
he had a horse.
He had a
Dick's
horse when he was
dad.
3 years old.
He had a horse when he was 3 years old, and would get out and curry that horse.
And he got
Got
kicked,
kicked in the chin.
and that was always that
But,
scar up there.
I mean, nobody would allow a 3-year-old child to have a horse, even. But he had his own. He curried it, he fixed it up, and everything like that. You know, did everything you're supposed to do with it. Fed it. And everything.
when you came to town, Burleson, your earliest years, your father put you in, say, a Model A. Did you ride in a carriage or a car when you came to town?
Well,
We walked sometimes.
yeah, I walked to school.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Now, Thelma Clark said that every time Miss Taylor had a baby, that Mr. Taylor gave her a present. And once it was, for Jack, it was a car, was a touring car with the those
Hutmobile,
things
wasn't it?
no,
That wasn't that one.
that was another time.
Another kid, huh?
For when the house was built up there, it was after I was born. Maybe, I don't know, I remember that Hutmobile. Maybe that was just for his own pleasure, because it was a fancy thing. And it had these tassels you held on to in the back, and
It was
maybe
big
that
for our family.
maybe that was
Maybe.
for you.
Could be.
How many total children were there?
6.
6. So Mom got 6 presents.
Don't know about the first ones, but what happened then, or maybe that was anticipation. They built the house on, what's the name of that street up there? We didn't call them by name streets back then, but that's when they built the house. It was next to the Pierce House, which became the Rosamond House, and then it was later somebody else's. But I've played in most of these big houses in town, and even in the attics. And I played in the Warren House down there before they took the top off of it and made it into a one-story. Before my sister Melba ever heard of Harold Warren or thought of him or dreamed of him. But the Millers, the Jack Millers, rented that house. And when I went to, and we went to the Methodist church, and they went to the Methodist church. And so from the time about 5 years old, and Melba and I used to go back and forth and visit, and I loved to visit in there at that house and play upstairs, and it had a cupola on it, and then there was another kind of a funny room upstairs that you stepped up a step to go into, but it was so much fun. And then the Pierce house was the Warrens, Miss Ada Warren's father and a second family built that house. And then later it was the Rosamond house. And I'll tell you about there were two brothers that lived there, and they were Methodists, and we'd have ice cream parties at the church. And Mr. Rosamond, he's a little fellow with kind of fattish, and he'd go around pinching all the little girls. And we'd see him coming, and we'd start running from him.
We all, Willie Roseman.
Willie, yeah.
Yeah, Willie Rose. She was talking about how her father would buy her mother something after each baby. I remember Jack having told me all of these children were born in the summer months, but one. C.C. Taylor, the brother, was born in November?
December 7th.
But all the rest of them were born along in May.
Between May 6th and June 6th.
Right.
Just different
And he
years.
said the reason for that was that was about 9 months after the crops came in the fall.
That was his theory. But
his-
Papa didn't farm.
No, but he bought cotton and
He was a
made-
cotton buyer.
He made
Yeah.
a lot of money off of the farmers when their crops came in. So, that's why all these kids, but one, I don't know what happened there, but all the rest of them were born about 9 months after the crops came in.
Let me go back to how you got to town, and y'all went to church every Sunday. So when you went to church, you went out, got in the automobile, went to church?
Yes.
Okay. 6 kids, mom and dad?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, I guess so.
Well, yeah, that's why the Hatmobile had to be really big, because if we
Was
were
it
all going to go...
summer, winter, if it was raining, if it
Yeah.
was dry, everybody hopped in the car, and off you went to church?
Yes.
Yeah, my mother was a Sunday school teacher.
It could have been that they all went with there was buggy time, but I wasn't there.
Well,
remember
we
going in
didn't
cars.
have buggies when we lived out there.
They didn't what?
We did not have buggies.
Oh, we didn't have
I
buggy.
remember one time at Halloween at the Rosamond house. Oh, Mrs. Rosamond used to, every Sunday, she rode a buggy out to the cemetery to tend to her grave. And one Halloween, the boys in town put the buggy up on top of the outhouse.
Boys will be boys.
Yes.
When you went to school here in town?
Yes.
Elementary school.
Yes.
You go to the 3-story brick schoolhouse here?
Oh, yes, we
Oh, yeah.
all went there. All 6 of us went there.
Okay.
And I remember my first grade teacher, Miss Spears, who became Mrs. Dunn.
Okay. And Nola Dunn
Nola
would
Dunn.
be
Yes.
named after, okay. What sort of classes did you have when you went elementary school? Remember what classes you went to?
Yeah, math, arithmetic, English, and literature, and there were no foreign languages taught at all. But
What Was it co-ed? Yeah, boys.
Oh,
and
yeah,
girls?
oh, yeah, oh, yeah,
yes.
oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Well, it was English and, or literature or whatever, you know, and then arithmetic, and that's the main things I remember.
Each grade had their own room, and they didn't go from room
Yeah,
to room.
no,
teacher
we
to
didn't go
teacher.
from room to room.
Each
Right.
grade was, they had their room and their teacher, and they stayed there all day.
Yeah.
And how many grades were in that building, Dick?
10.
Well,
10?
10 at first, and then,
Yeah, when I
I think
went
to
there,
11.
12.
yeah.
Well, that was much later.
Yeah.
We,
being a
we,
youngster, yeah.
we were harder to
Even in Fort Worth, the grade just went to 11,
Yeah.
Yeah, we were harder to educate than they were.
or faster.
Took a couple of years.
Or faster.
longer. Yeah, faster.
What about sports? Did you participate in sports?
Oh, played baseball, basketball, then skating rink. We had a skating rink.
roller
then.
skating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you both roller skate?
Yeah, I did.
But I was,
All my friends.
I don't think it was when I had gone to Fort Worth. We all went to Fort Worth to school after the 9th grade, I believe.
Yeah.
Went to Pascal, right?
Yeah, we went to Pascal. Well, I went to Central one year, and then it was changed to Pascal.
When you went to school in Fort Worth, how did you get up there every day?
Well, there are different ways. I remember going with Miss Shannon. She worked for a law firm. Well, now I can't say her name. Sarah Shannon also went to Fort Worth to school, and we went at the same time, and we went with her, and then sometime Jack drove us, but she's different. See, I'm 5 years ahead of her, and
But
sometimes
I rode
I
up with
lived in
people
Fort
that
Worth
worked
with
up
with a-
there.
I'm sorry,
And-
Shirley.
There was Ms. Austin that worked up in Fort Worth, and I rode with her, and Jackie Miller rode up there with her, and who else? Y'all remember?
So you sort of carpool.
Jackie Deering.
Today you would call it carpool.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
except it's just one car.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to sports just a second. Dick, you played football in town, didn't you?
Yeah, I played on the first football team that Burleson had.
Really?
Yeah, and that was in 1951, 52. Before that, Burleson didn't have football. They just had the
Right.
basketball, baseball, and track, and those sports, but they didn't have football till.
What position you played, Dick?
Well, we kind of played all of them. I was in the picture that they have for that year. I was listed as a guard, I think.
Play both ways?
Yeah, oh yeah, they didn't have enough to have two teams. You played offense and defense. And I remember having played in the backfield and played on the land.
Shirley played football too.
Yeah. We,
I remember we'd play softball at recess.
Softball, yeah, not baseball, softball. I said baseball a while ago.
And
Softball.
when I was about in the 2nd or 3rd grade, my teacher was Miss Barton, and she would read us the Tarzan stories. We were fascinated and couldn't wait for the next reading. And my cousin Elizabeth Chisenhall taught zoology there.
And she was my teacher in the 3rd grade.
Yeah, just a regular
Regular,
teacher,
and then she
but
taught high
and then
school,
she taught
zoology.
And I know Sarah Shannon was in her class, so I'm not sure. I guess Sarah didn't go to Fort Worth, to Pascal as soon as I did. But she said she was more fun. It made zoology such fun.
Yeah. Everybody liked it.
all three of you graduated from high school?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
And you graduated from Pasco?
Yeah.
Fort Worth?
yes,
Uh-huh.
I did.
I graduated from Poly.
Okay.
Uh,
Did you go on to college after that?
Yes.
Yeah, I went to Texas Tech for 2 years, and then I transferred to the University of Texas, but I didn't graduate.
You went to Tech in about what year, Genevieve?
37,
37.
and then
Was it a big deal for a woman to be in college?
no.
No? You had a lot of girls at Tech in Lubbock?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
there was one dormitory for women and one dormitory for men.
Okay. Shirley, you went to school, where'd you go?
I graduated from Pascal, and then I went to TSCW, Texas State College for Women. Sounds like a prison, but it wasn't.
Is that the school that's in Denton today?
Yes, but it's called TWU today. And then I went to the University of Texas after being there for 2 years, but did not graduate from it either.
So you both attended down in
Attended,
Boston,
yeah.
but you didn't
No, didn't
get the
graduate.
sheepskin.
I decided that I could not be a school teacher, and that I shouldn't be wasting my mother's money having so much fun. And so I didn't go back, and I went to a business school in Fort Worth, Cousins Business School.
Dick, where'd you go after high school?
I went into the Marine Corps directly from high school, and then after I got out of the Marine Corps, I went to what then was Arlington State College, now UTA,
Okay.
and I didn't graduate. I went for about 2 years.
And Shirley fell in love and got married. She got married, so she didn't finish.
Is there more to that story, Shirley?
2 children.
I'll never tell.
Okay. Let me go back to maybe some of the businesses in town, 30s, 40s.
I can tell you earlier than that, I think.
Okay, you folks can all remember the Depression.
Well, we didn't
really feel it.
We didn't
You
feel
didn't?
it because my father had a grocery store.
We were very
grocery,
fortunate.
hardware, and implements.
Okay.
And but he helped people in town that were having a hard time, and they didn't have to pay their bill at the store.
Okay.
But down the street from us there was another there was a hardware another grocery store
Scott's
down there.
grocery.
Scott,
No, Scott's came later, but there was another one in there.
Mercer or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the post office was down there.
Now that is, we're talking on Main Street,
No,
not Ellison. Was it on Ellison?
No.
what is this out here?
This is Ellison, right?
Yeah.
This-
Oh, yeah, it was on Main Street.
Okay.
And Mrs. Lace was the was the postmistress for years.
Did you have delivery to your house on the mail, or did you have to go to the post office?
Well, they were saying in town they didn't. You said, didn't you, Charlie, that y'all had to go to the post office, but we had a
post office boxes.
Yeah, but we had a mail carrier out on the highway, and I can remember him going by in a buggy and leaving. We had a mailbox out,
And,
and so he would, and then later I think he drove something like a Model T. But first he had that buggy.
Let me ask you about a business that we don't hear much about, but we have a picture that talks about moonshiners.
Oh,
Was there
yes.
a bootlegger in town?
Not in town, but I was
know
telling
you
you
went to
about
Jones
Jack and Ray Clark. it was later when after he got over his operation, he always had a horse, and then Ray Clark. There was a Clark for every one of the Taylors, and that they were always close friends. And so Jack told me one time that he and Ray Clark would ride across the fields to the moonshine bootlegger. And I don't know what they bought.
But
It wasn't RC Cola, you can bet.
No.
I don't recall anything like that up here, bootlegger.
back to your dad's store. Groceries?
Groceries, hardware, and implements.
Okay.
And there was a shed out to the right, and that held the big things, big plows and things like that.
That was the implement
Farm
shed,
implement.
and
Yeah.
I've heard from several people that's where Thomas Conveyor started. Recollect any of
I can tell you.
Well,
about
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know about that.
that. Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. When there was a conveyor company in Fort Worth that Thomas was partners in, and they separated partnership. And Thomas came to Burleson and was talking to some of the people in Burleson about a place that he could open a conveyor company. And they told him to go see Jack Taylor, that there was a place available. He'd know about it. And they went in and talked to Jack, and he wanted to know how big a place they needed. And they said it's big enough to set up a conveyor machine, bending machine. And he showed them that shed out beside the Big Four, between then it was between the Big Four, and there was a Garner's barber shop there, and there was an alley through there. It's not there now. Anyway, they said, yeah, that'll work. He said, well, you're welcome to use it till you can get you a building, to put it in. So that's where they started. They put
That would have been early to mid-50s, maybe?
probably it was in the 50s, yes.
Okay.
Probably early in the 50s.
If I walk into your dad's grocery store, big double door in the front,
Two of them.
two
On
double
each side,
doors.
there was, on each side.
Yeah,
Each
yeah.
side, there was, the door came in on each
Okay.
side, yeah.
Well, but I'm not sure there were two when I was going in there. So I would go up to the store after school, and so there were the implements were all lined up on the wall. I mean, the drawers for hardware were all lined up on the what direction is that? North?
Well,
Yeah, north wall. And they also bought eggs, and there was I can remember a little some box there, and it had a light on the inside, and so when somebody would bring in, women would bring in their eggs to sell, they would look at the eggs through that thing to see if they were good.
yeah.
But your dad bought eggs from local farmers.
Yes.
They would look at them
Yes.
against the light to make
Yeah.
sure that
They had a
were
egg
good.
test
Right.
that they make.
And then you put them on the shelf and sell them to the rest of the townspeople.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Brown eggs, white eggs.
Either
Both.
Just
Yeah.
any color that
Egg.
came in,
Yeah.
so it was a good
Chicken
egg.
egg.
Yeah.
Chicken.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they bought chickens. They had coops out in the back, and they bought chickens. They'd
Live chickens? Dick?
live chickens, And
Oh, that's right.
they'd take them to Fort Worth Poultry and Egg, and sell them and the eggs, what they didn't sell at the store.
If I want to come in Saturday, I'm going to have a big dinner on Sunday, and I want a chicken. You go out back and give me a live chicken?
If you wanted to, if you
Would
wanted to
you,
buy a live
would
one.
you chop his head off and clean him for me?
Nah, I
Oh,
don't
no,
remember that.
No,
I'll tell you what, that when we were out on the highway, and my mother had chickens, and she had a rose garden on one side and the chicken yard in the back. It was all fenced off so they couldn't get into there. And then there was a vegetable garden, and then there was the barn down that they could get to from the highway. And every year she would get chickens in the mail, baby chickens in the mail.
Yeah.
And then we had a little house down that for help. It was built for help on the farm, but then there was after the time nobody lived there, so she had her baby chickens in one room there and a brooder, and I would go down and play with those chickens, and then we had every day we had fried chicken in the summertime, and she'd go out and she'd catch a chicken and she'd wring the head off and go in. She'd have to do usually 2 for our family, and have them in the fryer and ready to eat. And I mean, she was fast.
And chicken and dumplings go
Yeah,
with the bony pieces.
The bony pieces.
Let me go back to the store. We've got eggs.
Yeah.
We got live chickens. What about produce, fresh vegetables?
Yeah, my uncle would go to help my father in the store. He'd go to Fort Worth to get fresh produce every morning.
Walter Taylor.
Yeah,
Okay. That was pretty much seasonal, though, I guess, wasn't it, Shirley?
I'm sure it was. I don't really
And
remember
then
that,
there
but
were
I'm sure it
bins
was seasonal.
of beans and different things.
Like dried beans.
Dried
like lima
beans.
beans or
Yeah.
pinto beans.
Yeah,
You
and
went in
there were
with a big old
candy.
scoop and put it in a sack, I guess?
yeah.
There were candy display cases right when you walked in the door. That's why I know there was just one door, but and I'd go in there and I wanted some candy so bad, and so if my father would see me sometimes, he'd give me a couple of pieces, but not much.
Were any of those, Genevieve, do you remember any of the names, the brand names on the candy? Anything that we might recognize today?
Chocolate Soldiers. A lot of the chocolate soldiers, and well, there's a lot of them. That you go to Fort Worth and this special candy store will have those candies. Oh gosh, I can't remember right now offhand.
Had Tootsie Rolls, didn't they?
What, Tootsie Rolls?
Well,
Chocolate
they didn't
Soldiers.
have any Tootsie Rolls when I was looking at
Well,
those
it was mainly
cases.
Tootsie Rolls came a little later. They probably took the place of Chocolate Soldiers, but the Chocolate Soldiers were really good chocolatey. There's a lot of them that once you see it, then you say, "Oh yes, I remember that." You know.
Well, in that store when I was going in, I don't remember anything in wrappers.
Again in the store, seasonal produce, eggs, chickens, canned
Pickles,
goods.
pickles.
Pickles in
In
a
a-
big old barrel?
Uh-huh.
Okay. What about canned goods? You have canned beans.
I guess there was some there was.
Had to have been some kind of
Canned
cans of
things.
sometimes.
Uh-huh.
But
Was there a butcher in the store? Was there a
Well,
Later.
later Jack
Jack was
was a
butcher.
butcher.
But it was later on, because he
later
was
on,
pretty.
in the late 30s?
It
I
was
guess-
after Papa died.
It was later
He
than
died
that.
in 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was. Jack would have been only 13 or 14 when Papa died.
Oh, 12, 13,
About
14, 15.
15. So it was maybe like in the 40s, beginning of the 40s, whenever he became butcher. You remember? Yeah.
See,
And
Jack
he
Jack went to Texas Tech,
Yeah,
too.
he went there,
And the University of Texas.
On the butcher portion of the store, guy bring in a calf or a cow? And,
No.
No?
No,
It came in as halves or quarters or something?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Jack taught me to butcher just as soon as I was old enough to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as soon as I was old enough where I could, or big enough I could see over the top of the counter, well, he started teaching me to butcher. And we'd get halves and quarters and bought them from Armour. Normally.
In Fort Worth, probably.
Yeah, and they the earliest I remember, they delivered them to us out there. And we had a walk-in cooler where we hang the meat in there, and then we'd go in and we'd break quarters down, you know, and cut steaks and roast and grind hamburger meat and all that.
And yet, obviously, you had refrigeration by this time.
Oh yeah, it was well, this would have been probably in the early 50s.
50s?
Yeah.
Okay.
My biological father died in 1937, and my mother moved us out here to my grandmother's farm out east of town, and then my mother married Jack Taylor in 1945, in early 1945, and he adopted me and my sister, and that automatically made me another employee of the Big Four.
But you worked for high
free,
wages, I guess.
for
didn't
free,
you? Yeah.
probably.
You worked for high wages.
Oh yeah, I was, you know how they do with family. You know, they always get the big check. One of the best things that happened to me back then was, well, the best thing that happened to me was my mother marrying into the Taylor family. But him teaching me how to butcher, I made a pretty good living butchering up for several years, even after I got out of the Marine Corps. But I remember just talking about things that you had back then. We used to get barrels of sauerkraut, and we'd have it back in the butcher shop. And people come in, they'd want a pound or 2 pounds of sauerkraut. Take it out of that barrel and put it in a carton and weigh it up and sell them sauerkraut out of it.
I didn't remember that at all, the sauerkraut. Yeah.
That was after my time.
Did you?
Well, I used to play at the Brown House, and I knew his mother when we were just, I don't know, about 10 or 12 years old. And I'd stay out, and we'd spend the night out. I'd spend the night with them, and we'd play domino cards on the floor. And Doris, Mabel's sister, she was very good at adding. Well, she was older too, and I'd sit there and I'd pretend I was trying to add those together, and she knew that I couldn't figure that out, and so she'd say, "Tell me how much it was." The cards added to. I don't know what we were playing, but then I played in their house, and my mother and Miss Brown were very close friends.
If I go back to the store, and what you said, Genevieve, reminds me of this. I go back to the store, say in 1940. I buy some eggs, I buy an old chicken, I buy some sauerkraut. I come around to the front to a counter, I guess, where I'm going to pay for all of this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a checkout counter.
Have a cash register, Dick?
No,
Yeah.
it had an adding machine.
Adding machine.
Oh, well, they had a cash
had
register when we were
but
there.
it didn't add up chickens like they do today. They add up what you owed on an adding machine, and then when they paid it, they'd punch in the total amount on a register.
Okay, so if somebody tells me that I owe $10.43, I pay in cash?
Well, probably.
Let me tell you.
At least
about
back in our day.
Let me tell you about that. I'll get contradicted, but I'm going to tell
Oh,
you.
I don't know.
most.
I don't know
most
about
everybody-
his day.
Most everybody around Burleson were the farmers, or there were a lot of people here that worked at the steel mill in Fort Worth, and they'd come in the store and they had little ticket books, and they would have an account, and they'd come in and they'd buy some groceries, and you'd write it down, each item down on this ticket book, and they'd send their kids in to get something, you write it down on the ticket
Charge
book.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Just charge it.
Yeah.
And then whenever
We
they
did
got
that.
their paycheck, or if it was a farmer, when he got his crop came in, he'd come in and Jack would add up how much he'd charged over whatever period of time. It might have been for months. And they'd pay the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did,
I'm
yeah,
sure
charge
that
you
was
everything,
the
but-
same way back
Hey,
then,
I got
all the time.
agreement.
Yeah,
Genevieve, you had a little different?
No, I say that I'm sure that was just a continuation of,
Yeah, it
of
was.
Yeah.
it started.
I know they charge
And I
a lot
agree-
whenever.
no, I
it was
agree
there,
with
but I
that.
didn't know
The
it.
one thing, there was
Didn't I?
Ms. Baird's bread box out in front of the store. And every night, the bread man, who was our cousin, Morris Walker, was the bread man. He delivered out there, and he'd put the bread in the bread bin, and then I guess that then it was there when the store opened the next day.
We're about to our time constraint. I've certainly enjoyed this. I hope you folks have.
Did indeed.
Any little closing remark you all might make?
Well, I could tell you about the time Jack threw a rock through the bank window.
Uh-oh.
Well, you know, the bank was right next door to the store, to
F&M.
the Big Four.
Okay.
And so it was real, we'd had an ice storm, and there were icicles hanging down on the front there of the bank. And so Jack was about, I don't know, I guess 10 or 11 years old, and so he was out there, and he thought, oh, those icicles look so nice, and so he threw a rock to see if he could knock one down, and and it hit of course it hit the great big plate glass window in the bank.
Talk about that bank. There was in the Big Four, which was had common wall, there was a bell on the wall in the Big Four, and there was a button in the bank. And back in the 30s, of course, Bonnie and Clyde days, and there was some bank robbing going on, and they had that set up so that if anybody tried to rob the bank, if somebody in the bank could push that button, it'd ring a bell in the Big Four to let them know that there was some mischief going on in the bank. And Jack had a double-barrel 10-gauge shotgun that had hammers on it, and Jack always said, if they show up at this bank, if they don't get across that railroad track before I get out that front door, they're my meat. So he had that 10-gauge shotgun
And then there was one
that
time
was the security at the bank.
that they got a warning that the bank might be robbed, and who was that was
I
going to
don't know,
rob
I
them?
just remember that.
Well, they
about
had
Bonnie
a
and
balcony
Clyde
in the
coming.
bank. And so quite a few of the men in town, after they got this warning, and those men hid up there in the balcony part in case they came in the night time. And they never did come. So
Shirley, you had a thought
Well-
about Bonnie and Clyde?
Well, yeah, we were out at our house, the main ones that were left and everything to the house, and a man with a big old white hat came riding in on a horse and everything. He says, Tall Taylor, get all your children in the house, keep them in the house, because Bonnie and Clyde are in the area. Man, I thought, well, oh my God. I was young, I don't know when that was, maybe 34 or something like that.
whenever Bonnie and Clyde were
I
were
think we were in
operating.
Rendon or Everman or something like that, or in the area anyway. He was warning everybody.
Thanks for
Well, I
sharing
guess
your
we've
stories.
talked enough.
Thank you very much.
I do want to say
Enjoy.
something, that Burleson was a wonderful, wonderful place to be brought up. We all agree, all my friends and everything, that it was very thankful that we were born and brought up in Burleson.
Yes, it is. Of course, I couldn't wait to get out, but you know what? I still got so many Burleson friends.
Yeah.
I didn't have all the Clarks, but they're all
Well,
gone
It's
now.
remained a wonderful place all these years.
Good.
Yes.
Out there, period, it had been, but we've always thought it was perfect.